But I did my youth service in my 40s. So actually, I didn't want to go get an exemption or pay anybody. I actually served. But I remember when I went to NYSC camp, the kids were laughing at me. And one of them were making a joke, saying, bros, you know if you get exemption, right? But I wanted to really do it. Of course, they gave me some extra privileges. I didn't have to do all those physical exercises or do the rope. And then I got posted. I did my essay. But so now one of my uncles was like, please come and help us in this university. We're trying to build a university in Delta State. I don't want to mention the name, but so I said, okay, let me help them out, right? So I came over there as a professor, and I was teaching just like I was teaching in the US. I was passionate. I would meet with my students, They're not, according to them, they never met a professor like me, experience, with a tattoo, and I spoke to them like they were my mates. I spoke to them with mutual respect, as opposed to the professor like trying to beat them over the head and order them around, right? And I was not asking for money from the guys. I was not sleeping with the women, which I think apparently offended some of the other lecturers, right? And it was tough. And I would give them assignments, and I'll say, okay, you must submit your assignment via email or online, because I'm trying to teach them to compete globally. The days of course, when I went to the classroom, they still were still using chalk. I don't remember the last time I used chalk in my well-manicured nails. So I'm like, no. We're not going to use board, but how do I teach when half of the class doesn't have computers or laptops, right? So we tried, and I just faced a lot of resistance from colleagues or even the administration. And I remember taking my students to, in the history of the school, I can say I'm the first person, I was teaching intelligence and security studies. I taught financial and fraud management. I was able to coordinate with EFCC, ICPC, and then Force headquarters here before they were bombed, the intelligence section, to bring my students from Delta, and they hosted us, fed us and everything. But that caused a lot of other challenges with people at the other university that felt like
you're doing too much.
Yes, Yes. I was like, how's this? I'm teaching them stuff, let them see the agencies and stuff. And it was quite challenging. People make some disparaging remarks, and apparently somebody went to do juju, I'll say, let's see how it will go and come back. And then one day I was coming back, and I almost got into an accident. I had to enter the bush, and they said it's the juju that the guy did that made me almost die with it. I don't know, but the point is, I was like, my God is more powerful than that guy's juju, You could just have been simply reckless driving. I was in a rush, stressed. I wanted to get to the school on time. But of course, we don't know. But the point is that my God protected me, And then I was now being recruited to go to one other Nigerian university to help them, a comparative law department, after interviewing with a 23-panel member. And I was hired. The owner of the school, fantastic Nigerian man, I don't want to mention his name, but when I went to resume work, they couldn't find my file. And on the way, I was dying to be like, I don't think Nigeria is for you or something, But that was very challenging.
It conveniently disappeared.
Yes, can you imagine that? They've made you an offer, you're going to select your place, your file disappears from the entire school. And the owner of the school was even more puzzled, And all I can tell you is that I was the only non-ethnic person from that particular university. And it was interesting.